Вот поэтому так получается, что за нами постоянно кто-то ходит.
Я спрашиваю того, кто снимает.
Вы даже не представляете объем, что здесь творится.
The government trying to control everything. They can do whatever they want. That's why we depend on hackers.
I think I'm using the freedom I have and the availability of the digital processes, for my people.
People do everything behind closed doors.
You have to be careful about the intention of the next guys. Anything can happen.
Todo lo que estamos logrando de informar a las personas, de hacer denuncias, de peor, está marcando historia, está marcando un manual de estilo para el mundo entero.
Akati dukoyo ummataha multanihi kidamakillah akaharabna akaidnama
ناتعون قد لذا توانكا من ديت بال توانكا نحبا ويوتكاس نلديك إني مالك.
ناتنا زلوا هاجر كأسب تسديد يوصني أنا بعدين ناتنا تهليني أنت خوينا مرب سيجرا دك أي زبد يخول عني زبق من طلنا زبق نقالس أي مو علنا نيرنا
كمان أنا سلام
ما عادي هون بلنا خير قلت تغزر سلازلو وي غزر زلو امبر ابي ارترا انتهينا صبنت المون.
An estimated 5,000 people leave Eritrea every month, and almost as many men, women, and children left that country last year as fled Syria. It is a human exodus that is all the more staggering when you consider that this is a country of just 6 million people and one that is not presently at war.
Eritrea is officially the world's most censored country. President Isaias Afwerki has ruled the country since its independence from neighbouring Ethiopia more than 20 years ago. Access to information is limited. Just 1% of the population have access to the internet, and only 6% have a mobile phone. The law does not allow independent media to operate, and the government controls all media outlets. Foreign access to the country is heavily restricted, with independent footage being extremely rare. In June 2015, the UN published a commission of inquiry on human rights in Eritrea.
The Commission found that systematic, widespread, and gross human rights violations have been and are being committed with impunity in Eritrea.
All Eritreans are conscripted into the army for national service that can last their lifetime, a policy which international organisations and politicians have equated to slavery.
I recently renewed sanctions on some of the worst abusers, including North Korea and Eritrea.
Avec l'Érythrée, il faut mettre une pression maximale, parce que ce qui s'y passe est extrêmement grave. Personne n'en parle. C'est un pays qui se vide de sa population.
The Eritrean rebel group Rasado from the Afar region claimed to fight for democracy in Eritrea. The organisation conducts missions inside Eritrea, retreating back to safety in neighbouring Ethiopia. We met with the group after just having returned from a mission.
akaho guteenih tanin hadab tohu siniro xifida ummataha batanagidi arahat heetun mulu kibal ayon tay caalam sarko akakhlihiinihan bihlabay abtanah tanin maysat takay adu bitabtanah tanin kadu kursalet digoysano aysano
ديمقراطي متابعة تما عدلي ددلاي بسم مرحوي سلاماي إنكي معناهم متقدد للدين ديمقراطي إنكي جدكيا كي ددلاي أو أي نقولن تككي أكي حد بالنلا سنام سلام هرنتا كل بارو سلاي يعني إرترا حدني بارو تككي سلام هنا يمكن مشيبو بلو آمن كمرين كل حد يسيح له ليه بنادن تبري هنا دبالي حلو معنا
أكتب بقيو أمتها ملتنيه سدوه تنجي حليه تان مسويناي توه كوكتاكا جحلوت جيتنا في دمك الله أكهربنا أكا إدنما ربي فايدهن ناي حربي فايدهن ناي
2015 figures from the UNHCR report that there are just under 400,000 Eritrean refugees in East Africa, a figure which equates to around 6% of the country's total population. We travelled to an Eritrean refugee reception centre in Ethiopia to investigate why such huge numbers are leaving the country illegally.
تقابل تأسيا وتيا كأونا بزمتيا مالتي كله تأسيا نوما خبيث المزاغلومانيات نخمها نخ عبي لمتيا بحب جماعة أو سام كل خلينا نخمها نسوي سعد لنا بين مالتي أبزقين متيا زحش من نابون أنتم من نختمتن نخمها خمت متيا لهم مالتي نابا ولا عندك سوي حيتغنيها سوي حلن سوي نايس عمران سوي له سوي حيتغنيها غازيت أوين حنت حبة حنت أمانة زوجها حمولة إيتها حدش إيتها تقول سابجك زوجها حدش حنت مالتي تبي تكأو تبي حنت مدة مالتي إيتوي مالتي أنا ودي وايز بالدول ناس عن قد حني زاب تانكا مين ديت بال تانكاس محبا ويوتكاس كنا بداية كني مالتي اسمع فيسبوك تقمنا كده غي تقمني غي ها يلا أبزا خونيش ناشجعنا غينم مع شركة بايبه ولا ماسنجر يمو خلنا تكا
ناتسونا ترغيبك
رغيبكي أزي أتوي الله ده أزي أخذي واشنطن دي
وكاب إيرترا كاب دمت خطأنا جرا استوزعها سجلوا فتنة تأثيرني لها ما أثرت وجهنا بسالي وعطي أمريكا خيدلي أو خيدها آخر هاردلي إنجنير نحن برس بتاعنا شو قريب بس اللي بالكان سويت تأمنها وقالنا عندي فرحات نتكا زهان نجار كن قالت زين هالنا قد نقربت كاتالي زهان نجار تغير كاس قد نحسوالك
Critics of the government are considered traitors in Eritrea, with imprisonment and disappearances common. Because of this threat, opposition movements and independent journalism are coordinated outside of the country.
There's no freedom of expression. That's as brief as it gets. There are no independent newspapers. We're saying that the people inside the country are voiceless. We are their only voice.
What do we want? Justice!
Salam Kadame is a co-founder of the Freedom Friday movement, a group that remotely coordinates underground activists living inside Eritrea. The Eritrean diaspora community are using satellite technology and phones to get information back into their homeland.
I've had death threats. I've had threats of physical violence against me. We're not a political organization that have got a specific political end per se. We want the people to recognize that they ought to have a voice. They're entitled to their voice and they're entitled to express it. So what we're faced with is a very limited way of working. So whereby you can text message, for instance, a lot of people, you cannot do that in Eritrea, or you cannot use the internet because it's monitored. We use telephones as our primary form of contact, the robocalls as we call them. That's a 1-minute message, but that goes out to sometimes 5,000, 3,000 or 10,000 people.
سلام زخبرك حزبي إرترا. أب حزبنا بزع مصنع سرعات كجبر تصنحن زلون كفعتات المجمرة جيزة بمرتوعات تسنيو على ما هو أقل بورخيبو قالو. أب إرتراين زورج زلو كفعي بزامر ماريت كوميشن جبنات أنصار سبعونات ويز crimes against humanity تباهيو تقلي زلو.
Every information could land a freedom fighter, the movement, into trouble.
This video shows activists writing campaign messages on banknotes to encourage people to stop fleeing the country and stay and fight for freedom. Here, activists write graffiti and post stickers in phone booths, spreading word of the Freedom Friday movement. In their 4 years of trying, Freedom Friday have managed to smuggle just 15 minutes of footage outside of the country.
Any footage from inside the country that is smuggled out is newsworthy. It's a very rare thing. We've got to smuggle everything into the country, and then getting those pictures and that footage out of the country is another very, very big and a very risky operation. There is only the government owned TV station, so they've been brought up in this very propaganda-filled atmosphere where they have never been allowed to think for themselves. People got a very paranoid worldview, so they're not sure of themselves. They don't know who to trust and who not to trust. We put quite a lot of people at risk. They could get tortured. Masses and masses of people have been taken to prison and questioned specifically on working for Freedom Friday. So these are people who are risking their lives, literally.
With no independent press in Eritrea, and all journalists working for the Ministry of Information, Emmanuel Iyasu aims to provide the country with an independent source of information via satellite.
ድምፂ አሰና ሶኒን ዓርብን በቆጻጽራ ኤርትራ ካብ ሰዓት 8 ክሳብ ሰዓት 9 ምሸት ብ15245 ኪሎ ሄርትዝ ወይ ኣብ 19 ሜትር ባንድ ናብ ኤርትራ ዝፍኖ ነፃ ሬድዮ ኤርትራውያን እዩ።
ክቡራት ተኸታተልቲ ድምፂ ሰና ከመይ ትውዕሉ? ኣብ ናይ ሎሚ ሐሙስ 31 መጋቢት 2016 መደብና ፈለማ ዜና ቀፂልና ድማ ኣብቲ ብምኽንያት መበል 25 ዓመት ናጽነት ኤርትራ ንፍኖ ዘለና መደብ ኤርትራ ብዓይኒ ህዝባ 25 ዓመታት ናጽነት ዶባርነት ሰናይ ምክትታል ይግበረልኩም ብሩኽ ምሸት. Before I was a journalist back home in Eritrea, the Minister of Information. I used to interview the president himself a lot. You have freedom here to do whatever you want to do. I mean, but in Eritrea there is censorship. There is a government line that you have to follow, you know. I mean, somehow, recently it became very popular. People are buying satellite dishes in order to access information. And this shows you probably the hunger they have for information. The geography limits you. If you are going to bring about real change in your own country, but fortunately, we are lucky to have this internet and we can communicate, we can connect with the people back home. I think I'm using the freedom I have and the availability of the digital processes, you know, to my people.
This undercover footage was acquired by another opposition radio station in November 2015 after being smuggled across the border. Although they are unable to access the country, Amnesty International have used satellite imagery to map the location of prisons in Eritrea. Addis Ababa is located just outside the capital Asmara. The prison is where national service deserters or those that have been caught trying to cross the border are sent without trial. On his radio show, Emmanuel aired an interview with a prison interrogator who worked there and now lives in exile.
مودة أتادح رخندي أبالا شيم توعوا عبيلهم تقيد جيرهم عفراري حمل قليهم قتلوهم نقليهم قنا عفراري حمل سوم دخلهم الساعة لهم شو عمل سوم لهم كان بح سجابة بسريهم دحروا له بمقدقات بفرحين هذا يجي تاخذ كيتهم كندي تسوم كله له تدق سامريت زحل زخل سمين تندادف وما حصوم وهو وسيدهم سبقة أو توسيدا بيلهم هلواتي اللي بدحري أبي وسيدهم قتلوه ما كنا متيا وسيدهم بلون عدلينا كلنا بلون
It's easier for a refugee like me to get lost in the new environment because he can work, he can earn money, he can do whatever he wants. But it's the love of the people that is encouraging me to do what I'm doing. You know, I don't do the things that I would like to do as a normal person. I don't give time to my family. You know, they are missing out a lot because I'm busy doing this work. If I went back to Eritrea, I would be killed because I'm an enemy of the state. They call us a lot of names like traitors, CIA agents, or Ethiopian agents, things like that. But we don't care that much about it, you know, because we know what we are doing. And when you see the big picture, I'm doing it out of the love of my people and country, you know.